Did you know you didn't have to get on the ground to actually work your core? We're going to go through 6 standing varieties of core exercise that you can do this weekend. Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Sebastian Gonzalez and this is Crystal's going to help us out today. We're going to go through some exercises right here. Okay, we're going to go through loaded carries, wedging, goblet squats, single arm kettlebell deadlift, Turkish get-ups, and kettlebell windmills. So loaded carries we're actually going to use kettlebells for. These kettlebells are a little bit light for it, but it's a good start. Okay, go ahead and pick those kettlebells up responsibly. So we're not going to go too much into form of how to pick up things today because we're going to focus on the carries. Let's actually go low. Let's go farmer's carry. So there's a couple different types of carries. There's farmer's carries. Now show me a suitcase carry. I know you got one in your hand, huh? Okay, suitcase carry. Show me a rack carry. Show me a double rack carry. Good. Show me a waiter's walk, single hand. Keep the other one in a rack. Good. So there's different types of loaded carries, and the reason, you can go and bring that down. Different types of loaded carries, and the reason why we do it is to create torso stiffness, okay? So the simplest way is doing a farmer's carry, so that's what we're going to start with. So go ahead and pick both those weights up. Good. Turn to the side for me, face the window. That'll work. Okay, so now we're looking at, we're mainly doing a standing plank. So if I came up and pushed her, she shouldn't go anywhere. Okay? Good. And if we really want to cue her well, I would put my hands just on the side here and I would squeeze her right here. Go ahead and like tension, push my hands away from you, push my fingers away. Good. So now we got proper intra-abdominal pressure. Now she can go ahead and walk about the room for us. Go ahead. And this is why we call this a farmer's carry. We're basically just walking the thing up like a darn farmer. And come on back. And you can do this for time, but make sure your form does not degrade while you're doing it. Go ahead and put those down. So that is a loaded carry and different varieties of it. We have other videos that are more exclusively on that. Go ahead, we're going to do wedging actually. Let's do it on the right over here. Let's do a front wedge. Again, think of this like a standing plank. So go ahead and bring those feet out as far as you can here. Good. So now what we're going to do is a lot of people, they tend to extend right in this position right here. So we want to make sure that they don't have a hollow position in their back right there. But we do want to make sure that they have high tension. So see how I can squeeze her right here? So go ahead and relax for 1 second for me. So I'm going to squeeze you right there. So pop my fingers out for me. A little bit more, especially that thumb. Good. So now she's locked that position down right there. So now we have a nice plank and she can drive into the wall as hard as she wants to make this tough. Now if you want to make this a little bit more complicated, keep that same solid position except for bring the left knee up to the chest. Good. Pause right there. Drive real hard. Good. Bring that foot down. Load the other foot. Bring that knee to the chest. So this is a variety of a front wedge, which is more of a simulation of actually more of like a running stance. So go ahead and stand up for me. Let's do a lateral wedge. Good. So lateral wedge, we like to start with the foot right next to the wall here. Get a really wide stance with that other one there. Okay. Elbow up to the wall. Press into it as hard as you can. So if you look at her belt line and her shoulder, they're going to be horizontal the entire time. So when you do these, you're going to be in wonderment just when you start to lift up that leg by the wall, just slightly, just barely. There. Bring the knee, actually bend the knee a little bit. So already this section of her body, she's having to load and stiffen that section of her torso. So basically this is like a standing side plank. And go ahead and relax for me, bring that to the wall again. Now a lot of people like to post up on this leg here, and I like to give them a little bit more of a bend. So slight bend for me. There you go. Keep that in that position. Go ahead and bring that foot slightly up. Drive into the wall. And if you can see her right here, she's twitching right there because it's hard. Harder than you think. Go ahead and bring that down. So that is part of our wedging series. So now we're going to go into our goblet squats, and I like to have people start first with the kettlebell right between their feet. Go ahead and pick that up by cradling it, just like a penguin grabbing their egg. Hands down. There you go. Spread the feet slightly. There you go. Now we have a nice shoulder width. Go ahead and stand up with that for me. Good. Okay. So she's got this real nice and tucked to her body right there, okay? We're looking to, again, that we can create nice intra-abdominal pressure here. So if I squeeze into you, push my thumb back especially. A little bit more. Good, okay. So this is gonna stop her from extending because a lot of people tend to extend from their midsection, all right? So go ahead and pop down into a goblet squat for me. By the way, we do have other videos on goblet squats if you want full technique. So she's going to pause right here, but what I really want to show with core training while standing is the active standing position. So go ahead and go up. Okay, she's going to do a nice solid standing plank right here. Okay, what's going on? So if I can go up and push her again, I shouldn't be able to move her anywhere. Okay, so her cheeks should just be contracted as hell. She should have high tension here. And if she really crushes this, just crushes it with her hands, she's actually going to activate the lats really well right here. And I can't even push through that thing's solid right there. Good. So go ahead and go down to a goblet squat again for me. Good. And come on up and hit that solid plank. Good. So that is how we activate the core while standing with the goblet squat. All right, now we're going to go into the Turkish get-up where actually we'll do a half get-up here. And the reason why this one's going to be important for core strength is because we're mainly just keeping this midsection here, this pillar, this area where the rib cage and the torso is, we're going to keep it solid as a rock and we're not going to let it deviate around a bunch like people like to do. So go ahead and set up into a Turkish get-up for me. By the way, we will have a whole separate video on Turkish get-up, so I'm not going to go too much into cueing here. Okay, so first things first, okay? I like to keep this right around here. A little bit spread in the feet. She's going to drive that weight straight into the air there. I guess I should move this camera slower. And I'm going to take a picture right here because I want you to see how her body comes up just from the hips and it's not going to round. So she's going to drive that left elbow there into the ground like she's trying to rip her skin off to get up off the ground. So go ahead for me. Not as pretty as I thought. Go ahead and try that again for me. Okay, we're going to look right here. I want you to struggle through that elbow drive. It could be better. I see a little bit around right from there, right there. Go ahead and come down again. Yep. I want you to actually drive from this section and you're gonna rotate. You're not gonna go straight to the ceiling, you're gonna go more towards the lighting over there, okay? Driving that elbow to the ground. A little better, still not perfect. So I'd lighten the weight on her for next time. All right, so from here we're going to go press into the hand. Go up to the hand for me. Good. Now we're into the hip drive portion. So she's going to try to straighten out that right side, so drive those hips into the air. Good, so that's a nice line right there without creating too much hyperextension in the low back. Let's put that heel up, or those toes up. Oh, she passed that for me, it's okay. Good, so stay right here. Okay, so the reason why this is part of a core exercise is because we see this area right here. I want you to sink this area away like you have a Jenga block. Good, good. So now we want to keep this pillar system in place. So go ahead and creep that hand towards the thigh. Drop those hips back. Good. Press that weight straight into the air. I didn't love that, but we'll work with it. Okay, spin and stomp for me. Good. So this is our half get up. Go ahead and spin back. Good. Drop those hips back. Keep pressing that weight into the air. Creep the hand down the thigh. Walk it out like cousin it. Good. Stay right there. Okay, so we should be able to own this position right here. We should be able to get that rib cage down, but drive that weight into the air. Straight to the ceiling. Good. All right, go ahead and sweep out. Kick to me. Hips up. I know not everyone agrees with this position, but I don't like this. See, I don't like this. See, this is why this is core training right here. Drop that down. Push that hip up. Drive to the ceiling. All right, go ahead and drop down. So this is something we got to work with a little bit here. But this is the whole point of the core, is to be able to keep solid and high tension when you need it. Down to the elbow. And slow, press the air. Good, so you got to own that position there. So this is why it's good, because we're training this area right here to work, even though we're going through different areas of motion, specifically at the hip and at the shoulder. So that is the half get up. We'll do a whole video on it to come. Okay, now we're going to get into the single arm kettlebell deadlift. So this is a deadlift variety we're mainly just doing with one arm. And the reason why this is a core exercise while standing is because we're fighting the urge to let the weight rotate us. Okay? So the whole function of the core, the torso, if you've read this article, is to keep position when it's needed to keep position. So we have that pillar system right up here, okay? So go ahead and reach down as a kettlebell deadlift. Good. We're going to release one hand. Good. And I want you to straighten up, everything else remaining the same as if you're deadlifting that weight up. I guess you will deadlift it up, so go ahead. Good. Go ahead again for me. Good. Give me a couple more here. So I won't go into technique on kettlebell or on deadlifting. I have a whole other video on that. I'll place a link below the video. But for the most part, this, although it's lighter weight, we're fighting the rotational urge. And this is why it's more of a functional core training exercise rather than some of the stuff on the ground, although the stuff on the ground is amazing. All right, next we're going to go through the kettlebell windmill. So go ahead and pick that weight up for me. We're going to start this out just like a kettlebell deadlift, except for it's a little bit offset. You're going to leave that weight towards whatever side. Oh, go bring that down for me. Good. So leave it at the instep or the arch of whatever foot you're going to grab that weight with. Good. Perfect. Okay, so with this, we're actually going to allow some rotation, not from the pillar, not from the torso, but we're going to allow it from the hips. So go ahead and reach down for that weight for me, but you're going to load one of the hips. Good. So Cece's opening up to, she's shifting away a little bit from her right hip, so go ahead and bring that hip back for me. So you should feel, I guess I got to switch camera angles. So you're going to feel like this one pulls back slightly, and this one stays forward. I like to look at a lot of people, if you check their knees right here, you see they're going to be a little bit offset, and that's how you know we're getting the proper load in the hip. Good. So she's still got tension. She hasn't lifted the weight off the ground. So now I want you to spiral out of that like you're trying to drive your feet through the ground, kind of like a screw. Good. Take that same path on the way downward. So you're going to load that right hip. It's going to go back further than the other one. Good. So she's getting the spin mainly from the hips again. We're training the ball and sockets. We're not training the torso to lose position. So the whole thing, we want to keep this pillar solid, here to here. Create the spin from the hips. So go ahead and do it for me. Spiral out of that, driving the feet through the ground. Good. Slow on the way down. This one is not for beginners. I can tell you that in all honesty, because a lot of people don't do it well. But it is something we can definitely train, so go ahead and stand up out of that. If you like this video, go to my other video on isometric core exercise, which you can see in the corner here. That one is where it all began. It's the starting point for all core exercise before you even do this stuff right here. If you're interested in reading the entire article, we have that also below. So click through, go to the article, and it's the best core article you're ever going to want to read. Subscribe to the channel, share with friends. I'll talk to you guys soon.